What up, Buzz fam? We back on another Beers Bars video. I'm Casey.
It's Court.
Yo, so today we're gonna talk about the beef.
Yes. Like it seems like it is done. Like both sides are going their own separate ways now, you know.
It does seem that way a little bit, but at the same time, it seems like it might be done because of the shooting and things getting a little bit out of hand.
Yeah.
And when I say a little bit, a lot of it out of hand.
Yeah.
Right? Like, obviously, the shooting is unacceptable.
Yes, definitely.
Personally, I don't think that it was done from either camp, right? Like, there's a lot of speculations.
Yeah.
Oh, Cole did this, or Drake did that, or The Weeknd may or may not have been involved because
Weeknd going
his
gangsta.
manager got shot a couple weeks back or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. But I just want to say, like, I don't think that it's acceptable for either side to be
Not at
taking
all.
hip hop beefs and like trying to take matters into your own hands. So personally, I think this was like a fan of one
Yeah.
camp or the other.
Yeah, this could have been though, because look, everything should just stay on wax. Like I'm like, hey, this is how it is though.
Right.
Like this was like a really good thing for hip hop, and it's just like it all should have just stayed on wax. But yeah.
100%. Definitely should have been staying on wax. And then I've also seen in the news recently in the last couple of days that a bunch of people, well, not a bunch of people, there's been like 2 or 3 more incidents where people were trespassing on that same property where that person got shot and have been arrested and this kind of stuff. So like I really hope that we can squash all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm 100% about, I believe that hip hop is about beefs and like
Yes.
having like who's the best is a competition, right?
Yeah.
Like a
It's
competition
always
kind of
been
sport.
about competition.
But you don't see like Michael Jordan going to LeBron's house and shooting people, right? And you
Yeah.
don't see like
Yeah, you don't see
Tom Brady's and Patrick Mahomes, right? Like beefing at home.
Yeah, man. You don't see Garth Brooks and like Kenny Chesney, you know, like freaking like
Right.
freaking like beefing with each other like this or whatever though too.
And I get it. Like you want to like prove you're the best rapper to exist. You're the best rapper out there, and you do those kind of things. And like that's 100% cool. And I'm totally about that kind of stuff. I just don't want to see it escalate into things off outside of the booth.
Yes, to like where it's like people getting killed like for no reason though, you know. And like this is like the stuff that, you know, hey, that it was like the Tupac and Biggie thing or whatever,
Right.
you know, like stuff doesn't have to get to that right there.
Well, it ruins music.
Yeah, it does though, you know.
It gives people that don't want to give it a chance a reason to not give it a chance.
Exactly.
And it just takes away artists that are phenomenal
Yeah.
from everybody,
Yeah, exactly.
from both sides, whether you like them or not.
Exactly.
So like that aside, we're going to put a pin in that with that there, right? And then we're going to move into like, let's go down the whole beef timeline because Buzz fam, as you know, we started the channel only like a year and a half ago. We've been out the game for a long time. We're old. We got kids. Like we hanging out. And we've been talking about our old rap for a long time. So we started the channel so we could understand and we could figure out who's up and coming, what's new, what have we been missing over the years. And so there's a lot of stuff in this beef that we missed out on because like we didn't listen to a lot of this music over the last 10 to 15 years.
Oh yeah, definitely though, you know. And it's just like during this timeline though, you know, well, even before this started though, there was a lot of shots between these two camps that were taken at each other though, you know, from like what we were gathering, you know, like I know that K-Dot was saying certain things about ghostwriters in some of his past albums and stuff like that, and throwing rocks and hiding your hands, and then Drake coming back with stuff like talking about I can make a conscious album if I want it and I could do blah 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 blah. But then things like really like took to new heights like as soon as like K-Dot dropped the like that. But before that, it was like the first person shooter.
Well, but first person right, and first person shooter, I felt like I kind of feel like that was J. Cole's fault a little bit, but not even like fault, right? Like J. Cole was on this like I'm like one of the best to do it, and I'm like in my bag right now, and I'm on the cloud 9, and he's going hard, and so is Drake, right?
Yes.
And that And I'll tell you firsthand, I be bumping that first person shooter song all the
man,
time.
that
It's
song
phenomenal.
is on my playlist and it's just like banging.
But when
banging as
he
hell.
came out and said, like I feel like I'm part of the big three. Is
But
it
I'm
K
like Muhammad
Dot?
Ali.
Yeah, I'm like Muhammad Ali. Is it
Aubrey
K
and
Dot?
me.
Is it Aubrey and me?
Yeah.
And like right when he said that, like I feel like K Dot felt a certain type of way. He was like, okay, I get it. You're just like talking about yourself, doing this and this and this. But when you brought me into it,
Yeah.
now you're comparing me to the likes of you and the likes of Drake.
Yeah.
Right. And when K Dot heard that, he was like, well, first of all, I'm better than both of you. Right. And that's what I think K Dot heard from that. And then he took that and he turned it into like that. Now I'm confused a little bit, I will admit, because I'm very new to Future and I'm very new to Metro Boomin, why either of them would go ahead and say like, yeah, K-Dot, get on this track with me and come hard and diss Drake like that and diss diss J. Cole like that.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't, you know what though? And like, I think that J. Cole was like more of a casualty of war. Like it was like more of, kind of, I mean, like, okay, I won't say like the sacrificial pawn or whatever, but I'm just saying it's just like Future and Metro Boomin, from like what I was like reading like on all these comments or whatever though, like them and Drake, had some stuff like going against each other.
Yeah.
Like whatever, So it's just like, hey, why not invite K-Dot to this party?
Okay, I could see that. And now I'm seeing like this, like a lot of this, like we're talking about right now, Buzz Fam, is like a little bit hindsight 2020, little Monday morning quarterbacking, right?
Oh yeah.
Because like obviously we're down the road quite a ways from like where this all started out, and we saw Cole put out like that immediate, like instant, like response, right? Like quick response, kind of what we would have expected. Like everybody in the world was like, Cole got to respond, Cole got to respond, Cole got to respond, and he did, and it hit pretty hard. But when he did it in such a way in which it wasn't overly believable, right? Because like some of the things that he was dissing about K-Dot were things like To Pimp a Butterfly was just getting gassed for no reason and stuff like that, right? Like, and everybody, reactors and like everybody around, right? It was like, well, that's one of the greatest albums of all time, and you like it. So like, we know
like
that
Cole
you're not
believed in that album.
Yeah, right. So it feels like, to me at least, and this is this is where my opinion comes in, right? I think that Cole in that moment was like, nobody's gonna just come at me like crazy. Like nobody coming at me sideways.
Yeah.
I'm one of the best rappers to exist, so I'm going to just respond, right? And out of instinct, he just put pen to the pad, came through. And I know a lot of people were like, yeah, he had a team and they could have reviewed it and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But I guarantee you there's a bunch of people in this camp gassing him.
Yeah, man. And it's like, I think this too, though, because, well, obviously each artist has their different stands, right? And it's just like the Cole stands were all about, the album's garbage or whatever, though, And so Cole was like feeding them stuff that they wanted to hear, though, although Cole didn't believe, because like Cole loved that album. And it was like even to the point to like where even after even after T-Pap came out, Cole and Kendrick were talking about collab album together.
Right.
They were talking about that. And so it's just like, it was like, like really, I was like scratching my head with that too. Like, that you like that album. You know that you like that album.
And if you go
like,
back and you listen to like us reacting to that one, you're gonna like, both of us were like,
And you like that better than Dan. Like, I know that he liked that better than Dan, because like a lot of the reactors would say, that To Pimp a Butterfly was better than Damn.
Right.
But Damn, of course, was a more popular album because it was like the more easier album to listen to, though, obviously.
Right. And so that's where I was like, okay, I feel like Cole did like a response thing, like I just got slapped in the face, so now I'm gonna fight you.
So I'm gonna do that, though.
I'm gonna do this thing, and I'm not gonna be weak. And then I think he had time to digest it a little bit, right? Then he came back out, and I will admit, I'm still to this day not a fan of the way Cole went back at that and like apologized on stage and this tour and this and that, and came out. Now, hindsight again, being 2020, I think, because like there's a bunch of rumors now going around that Schoolboy Q messaged Cole and said, hey, get out of this. This isn't your fight. Like, hey, you need to back out of this. That shot wasn't meant for you.
And then like too though, and like also to speak on that though, so Cole did tracks with members of the Black Hippie.
That makes sense.
So like he did a track with freaking J Rock. I think he did something with Schoolboy Q too as well. And like maybe Absol. Like I know that Absol took Jid on tour or whatever. So it's like that whole entire circle is like connected in some way.
Right.
Like you know what I mean?
And so I think he was getting like a behind the scenes in some way. Like personally, I think he was getting behind the scenes in some way saying, hey, bow out of this one because you don't want to get drug in the mud because it's going to get dirty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so Cole got back up on stage. Now I wish personally that Cole would have come back and put down a second track.
Yes.
And he would have corrected himself.
Yeah.
While still saving face, right? Like he could have come back and been like, yeah, I went back and thought about it and I don't want to be part of this beef and I don't want to be part of like whatever.
Yeah.
And however he would put that together, right? In rap form.
Yeah.
And come out and said like, yeah, I do think that Pimp a Butterfly is one of the greatest albums of all time.
Yeah.
However, I don't like people throwing shade at me sideways. If you
It's
want to
just
come at me direct, come at me direct.
Yes.
And then we can solve this on
And
the next
that's
thing.
what that could have been.
And
right
that's
there,
what I think he should have done.
Yeah.
The way he came about it, like made everybody feel a certain type of way. Come back a month and a half later, right?
Yeah.
And now you're looking at it like, well, Cole's the genius because he got out of this fucking this dumpster fire that it evolved into.
Yeah, man, exactly. And then like we hear, okay, there's no response from Drake, and like is Drake strong enough to, even participate in this battle?
Well, and that's what everybody's saying.
That's what everybody's up saying. Like, you know what, dude? And like even I was like thinking it too, though, because like of course, like we know Drake, he's putting out hit after hit, banger after banger, banger after banger. But like, does he have, like the will to like go in there and actually like battle, as like one of the top MCs?
And I was seeing in the comments from a lot of our videos is like, oh, Drake's battle tested because he's been in beef battles before and he's this and he's this and he's this. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool and all. But like at the same time, like, is he battle tested against somebody like Kendrick?
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it's not the same, right?
Yeah.
Like there's different levels and everybody says it. There's different levels to like hip hop and like rap and like rappability and schemes and like all that kind of stuff. And so like, that's where we get into like, okay, so Drake drops both of those, right? Like those two.
And they were
came in hard.
Push-ups. I was like, damn. I was like, yeah,
Drop
he
and
came
give me
hard, man. It's just
50,
like, no, like dope ass beat, fire ass cadence and everything like that, man. And it's just like, he just like went in.
So that for me was like classic Drake, kind of what I expected, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it was super good, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Had plenty of like punches in there. But I think what really did it was when he used Tailor Made. And when he went in with Tailor Made was like one of the most clever things I think I've ever seen a rapper do because of the way he used it, right?
Yes.
He used Kendrick's like To Pimp a Butterfly talking to Pac, like in heaven, right? He used that against him. And then he used Snoop Dogg passing the torch to him against him. Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to respond to this? How are you going to do this thing? And I was like, wow. Like, and then he took that Unk line, right?
Yeah. He's like, I got it, Unk.
I got it, Unk.
Man, I understand you, Unk.
Like almost like he was passing the torch to himself from Snoop Dogg. And then like went in on K-Dot hard, like, right. Like, and like, even though rapping wise, like lyrically and like entendres and like bending it and like filling it up isn't the same as what Kendrick did. Like the thought behind that, right? Goes into it, goes in and that hits like out of the park.
So here's where I was like thinking, I was like, man, like a lot of fans are gonna get worried though, because of the fact that Drake did something so intricate, like something that K-Dot, just like the mastermind of K-Dot would think of or whatever, right? But also I was like thinking because, man, I'm like, I took this kind of like sensitively because, I'm hardcore Pac, know, and then I was even thinking too, like the whole West Coast would take that like a certain way.
Right.
Because it's just like, because just like the essence of Pac, it's just like, dude, like if you are going to even think about using that voice, it has to be used in a certain way. It has to be represented in a certain way because of what Pac stands for. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I thought was.
But at the same time, Drake's, just like the thought process like was creative as hell. However, it's just a certain, like if it would have been a certain way.
Well, and I feel like a lot of people took that as like mad disrespect.
Yes.
Right. And that was the only thing that undercut what he did.
Yeah, that's like the only thing.
And a lot of the reactors, like, because I went back and watched a bunch of the reactions to it, a lot of reactors like, how dare you use Pac's likeness for this or this or this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but the way, so like me personally, right? I think that the way he did it in like this fashion was reasonably classy, right? Because it wasn't like he just decided to use Pac out of nowhere. He used it because K Dot was talking to him in one of his songs.
Man,
right?
it's just like I get the whole thing though. It's just like how look, like Pac is like, listen, man, I'm gone, and like you're you're the heart of the West Coast now. Right. So what are you gonna do against this guy? Are you
and
going
he
to
still rapped it, right?
Yeah.
He like Drake still rapped it. He just used the voice sound.
Yes, exactly.
He just used Pac's voice sound to like masquerade it basically onto like what they were doing. And so that's why I thought that was super clever and like the way that went forward. And then he came out with Taylor, like, or finished Taylor Made, right? And then
so with this right here though, like everybody, K Dot ain't responding. It's been like a month or whatever, though. And it's just like, and it's like, as I was saying though, because look, I'm like looking at this battle from like the outside looking in, and like of course, like everybody knows that I'm like the biggest K Dot freaking fangirl and everything like that though, but still I'm like looking at this, from, hey, look, like let these two people spar at it though, but like as like many people were up there saying though, damn, it's like he done. Is he done? Yep. I'm like, you know what? Like K Dot is always the type that's going to stay silent. And it's just like, it reminds me of the Nas and Jay-Z battle. Like everybody thought that Nas was done. Nas stayed silent until Ether just blew up everything.
Right.
And I was just like, look, like K Dot studied Nas. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, look, like this dude is just going to come out of nowhere. And like, what happened?
And sting him hard.
What happened?
Yeah.
Euphoria came out.
Yep. And that,
and that was, dude, just like, listen, man, this dude, talking about having like a military mind, talking about being strategic. Yeah. This dude just like stood, like in silence, just like shut off the whole world. Like, look, I'm going to play chess. I'm just going to just structure everything like this. Euphoria, like to me, like I'm going to tell you to be honest though. Like that was like one of the greatest disses like to everybody else on the outside. But like for me, I'm just like, man, this was like the biggest dumb it down diss for me. It was, like that's why, like I said, like it's like the humble, because like that's like my least favorite track from Kendrick.
Okay.
However, even though it's like the best track of all time, like for everybody else, like for me, like since like I'm like deep in his discography, that was like, So like with Euphoria, I was like, this is like a dumber down track, like for everybody to understand. However, after like going back and listening to it, there was like so many Easter eggs in that.
Yeah,
it was like so much stuff. And I was just like, this dude just took a dumb it down. Just like took like a dumb it down right for everybody to digest it. And
it's funny because a lot of the comments were talking about how there was nothing in it and it didn't like it didn't say nothing and all this kind of stuff. And there was so, like you say, there's so many Easter eggs in it that it was like, okay, there was a lot to that. And it was like crazy.
Yeah.
And then he came and doubled down after that, right?
Yeah. And so that 616, now that was like more, I was like, okay, now this is like my K Dot right here. Like when like 616 came out, I was like, okay, this is my K Dot.
Yeah. 616.
And then like finding like the meaning behind it, I was like, this dude's just like straight up
There's so many meanings, so many meanings. Pac's birthday and Father's Day,
trial started,
and there's like some biblical references in there.
It was done at 6:16 in the morning. It's just like it was like so much stuff. And then like I like how that track was designed, just like talking about like, look, just like describing like the type of man that he was, and then going forward to saying, Lord, forgive me for what I'm about to do.
Right.
Because I'm about to kill this dude lyrically or like whatever. And it's just like, just dude, like that strategic mind. I'm just like,
well,
wow.
Then we get Drake coming back, right? Drake came back with Family Matters.
He took the Good Kid, Mad City minivan.
Yeah, he did. And he crushed that bitch. Now, I still don't know if it was actually the band.
It ain't the band. It was like a duplicate, though. However,
Okay.
like we all know, I mean, like for everybody that listened to Good Kid, Mad City, like that was the band.
Yeah, that was the band.
That was on the album cover.
Yep.
And so everybody
that
knew
shit.
what it was, though. And so it was like super dope. I love what Drake did with that right there.
He did. Yeah, he did a really good job.
Yeah.
Now, I will say at this point, it's starting to get dark, right?
Yeah.
Like, because now we're starting to talk about like some really like touchy subjects. And personally, like I get it. It's beef. It's rap beef, that kind of stuff, right? This is where I think that we end up, or this is how I think we end up with like shooting at Drake's house, right? Because you start talking about pedophilia, you start talking about like domestic violence, you start talking about like children being involved and that kind of stuff. And people, rightfully so, get very upset about those topics, right? And so if you don't understand whether or not it's real or not real, and you don't understand, like you're believing what, you're taking everything literally, what they're saying. And a lot of times in rap and in hip hop and in music, you can't take those things literally, but they are taking them literally. And I don't know if Kendrick was rapping literally or if Drake was rapping literally about what they're saying. Because obviously, like, we're going to go through and like we'll talk about how Drake says that he fabricated the whole thing and Kendrick bid on it, right?
Yeah.
But like, regardless, the accusations that they're throwing out at each other stick hard, right? And then you got both sets of Stan fans being like, here's all the proof for this, and here's all the proof for that, and here's all the proof for this. And you're like, okay, well, where's the actual proof, right? It's a lot of subjective proof or like circumstantial proof, right? Like it's like, oh, there was a 17-year-old girl on stage with Drake one time. But then when Drake found out she was 17, he was like, whoa, like,
yeah.
right? Like,
and
like,
then like I've seen stuff like where, hey, Drake's taking a picture with a 16-year-old girl at some birthday party or whatever, but it could very well be a situation like where, hey, Drake, why don't you come down to our birthday party? Hey, I want a picture with you, Drake.
And that,
Keys,
and,
you know,
exactly.
it's kind of just like a fandom. Hey, I want a picture.
Yeah,
You know,
and I
kinda
was,
just like
I was
one of them
actually
things.
talking to one of my good friends about this, and I was like, I'm willing to bet if you took most artists from today and you tried to find pictures of them with young people,
Yeah,
you'd
it's
probably
like more
be able
of
to
a
do it.
fandom type of,
Right.
hey, let me.
Like, and now,
Keys, you know.
is there like, if you dig real hard, I bet, like, where's all the Bieber fans out there?
Yeah.
I guarantee you can find some
Come
Bieber
on.
fans.
Like Justin Bieber took pictures with 10-year-olds and
like all
you know,
kinds of weird stuff.
12-year-olds,
You're not
you know,
gonna throw that
obviously,
in his
because
face.
just,
It's like
yeah.
crazy. Like, and so like you need like actual proof of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of over like the era of where we're like just immediately saying that somebody is something extremely bad
Yeah.
without any actual evidence of it. Now, if Drake is that person, then by all means he needs to be in prison, like whatever. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I don't want to like damn somebody to like that level of like criticism and like hate, like the vitriol hate that will come with that, right? If it's not true.
Yeah, man, exactly, man. You know, so bottom line, yeah, man, like it goes down to, yeah, like we need some proof there, you know. Like I know that with Family Matters, I know that Drake was touching some touchy subjects with Kendrick, like as far as, you know, him and Dave Free, like trying to like start like something like between, you know, like Kendrick's like closest like friend or whatever, and then the situation with Whitney and stuff like that or whatever. And it's just like with them, like I know, you know, like how like K-Dot says, look, like I give you all of me. I want a certain part of my life just to be for me.
Right.
And it's just like, even like I could like imagine like his family, like I don't want to be in the spotlight though or whatever. And so like when they're coming up taking pictures, it's just like, okay, picture, you know, and then like they try to spin that to like, damn, this family doesn't look happy or whatever though. You know, it's like, yeah, because like you got cameras in my face all the time though. You know, I'm trying to go like I'm chilling in the park and just like have a picnic like with my family or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's just like it's like easy like how like stuff like that could just like get like spin though. you know. And then like of course, like with Dave Free, like all the other stuff, man. I mean, like which was like a really good diss track. Like I'm just damn, like that dude like came back hard. And then for that to be overshadowed, you know, 30 minutes later, like no more than 30 minutes. I mean, like not even a chance to breathe. Like we got Meet the Grams.
Meet the Grams. And see, this is where it gets spicy, right?
Yeah,
because because now you're talking about K-Dot's going at the mom, K-Dot's going at the dad, K-Dot's going at the son, the daughter.
Yeah. The alleged daughter. The alleged daughter. Like 11 years old.
11 years old. And like you can go back, Buzz fam, and look, like I was like, I don't believe this. Like there's got to be, because it was too convenient. And it was also like, he already lied about this once. Why would he lie about it again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like, why make the same mistake twice? And then coming I'm thinking about it like, no, it's not a newborn. It's not like a toddler. It's like an 11-year-old daughter. And so it just goes to think that, you know, it's just like kind of like the fuel to feed, like, damn, you must really be ashamed of your baby mamas, because he was trying to hide like the whole baby mama thing, like with like Adonis's mom. Well,
but
you know,
but then like I said in that and then,
yeah, man,
reaction, I was like, yeah. But like you're already like you already have a kid with an ex porn star, so like what could be worse than that, right? Like, and so at that point I'm like, okay, well. Yeah.
What? Like she's a call girl?
I mean, like something like what else could it be? Like, I mean,
like
even
it's still the same thing. Yeah,
it's the same thing. So that's why I was like, unless it's an underage person, like it, and that was like the whole thing, right? Like that would be the only circumstance I could see that it was like
only circumstance,
right? And other than that, I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then you get what?
Yeah, and then not like us, like with all the petties that's on his team.
Yep.
Though, you know. And it's just like the really crazy thing about that. It's just like you could look at this from like two angles. Though, for one, West Coast banger, #1 on Spotify and freaking Apple Music. Everybody banging this in the club, and it's just like when you see, because I seen clips of this, right? Everybody say OVO, and like in the club they're like OVO,
yeah.
You know, and it's just like it's a track that you don't have to like think about, right? Like it's just like you're just like dancing, and then when you sit down
and you listen to the words,
damn, for real,
and you realize what you're dancing to. You're dancing to like a pedophile track, right?
Talk about strategic mind,
right? And so K-Dot kills it with this one, right? Like he like has all kinds of entendres in there, all kinds of subliminals and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of people don't realize it because he makes a hit. Right, he does the Drake thing where he makes a banger out of it.
That's right. It's like I could do you, Drake,
and he crushes that. Now I will say the one glaring flaw that, like, and I get why he did it, was putting Drake's house on the thumbnail.
Yeah, because that could have probably been
the reason
cause of the
now.
You know.
I'm not saying that he did that on purpose to get his house shot up or anything like that. And I'm not saying that that was like part of what he was trying to do. But what I am saying is like, when these artists are like coming at each other, right? And like they're doing these things, they got to be mindful a little bit, right? Like other people are there.
Yes.
Not just the person you're dissing.
Yeah. Like you got the security guard that has a family. You have like all of this stuff.
Who's in critical condition.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and because of like some random person who thought that this was more real than it is, or isn't, or whatever, right? Like going there and I don't know if it's a fan or not, but I don't know. But somebody shot that security guard for whatever reason and could have died because of a rap beef.
Yeah.
Right. And so like that's the kind of thing where it's like, I think the next day they took down that picture off the thumbnail. They changed the thumbnail, like, which makes sense. Like I get the message behind it. Like he had all the pins in there for all the sex offenders that were in the house and this and that.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense to me. Like I get it. Like it plays well for the beef, but at the same time, you got to be like, would you? I don't think K-Dot would have liked his house being on.
Yeah, like of course.
Google Maps pinned up with wife beater on there, right? Like whatever. Like same kind of thing. And I'm not saying like as I know, like I read the comments, Buzz fam, like all's fair in love and beef and all this kind of stuff, right? Like that kind of stuff. But like when you're endangering other people, like I think it gets a little out of hand. personally, but I get it. At the same time, the fans, the people, they need to understand, like, it's not like that. Like, you don't need to go to, like, Kendrick is not asking you to go to war for him.
Yeah.
And neither is Drake.
Yeah. Let these two artists handle it themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why fans think that they, or whoever it was, think that they can handle it for him, which is just kind of wild to me. But then we go into the last one, right?
Yeah.
Drake coming back with the Heart Part 6.
Yeah.
Which I love that he stole the name of that song.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if Kendrick ever puts out the Heart Part 6 or if he skips it and makes
Or
it
like
7.
he'll say like the real Heart Part 6 or something like
whatever.
that or whatever.
But I wonder if it will ever get as many views as
You know what
the
though?
Heart.
I think it would because
You
of the
think so?
fact that Drake did that intentionally. And so like if Kendrick puts out something like that and says the official or just like whatever, everybody's gonna say, okay, what is Kendrick gonna say? Like everybody is gonna click on that because they're gonna want to know what is he going to say.
But I think when you search it, Drake's is also going to come up, right?
Yeah, so that's why you finesse the title a little bit. Okay,
Well, but
okay,
what I mean is,
and
like,
it goes back to this.
He's got
right
like
here.
a 20 million view head start.
Gotcha though, man. But like it goes back to this though, right? Okay, so with Dre leaving Death Row, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Drake had plans of dropping Chronic 2000. Death Row, Suge Knight said, you know what? I'm gonna drop the Chronic 2000.
And so he did the 2001.
And so that's why he did the 2001. Yeah.
Which is like,
and so
the best shit ever.
the Chronic is better than 2001. I like 2001, but the original Chronic is way better. And y'all can go back and check that though, because like the beats, everything is like way better.
We got them both on wax over here.
Yes.
We'll check them out later.
Yes, that's right. But anyway, yeah. So it's like I'm saying though, like he would change that intentionally.
Right.
Like it'd be like the official or whatever.
No,
It'll say something
I know
like
he's
that,
going
though,
to flip it in some way.
Yeah.
But I just think it's like funny that he'll always have to compete now with that if he wants to keep that going. But yeah. So, but then this is where he says like, I strategically placed the daughter and this and that. And this is where like it gets wishy-washy though, because everybody's argument is like, well, he didn't denounce the other claims.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I get that. And he was like, well, he kind of did be in a stupid way. Like most people think is like saying something about like, I'm too famous to be a pedophile, which that's a pretty weak argument, especially nowadays.
That is like super
with like
weak.
the Epsteins and all that kind of stuff.
Super
but like
weak.
at the same time, it does take away from credit, not that part, but the fake daughter thing, if that is indeed fake, from K-Dot's like
it's just like how he just like I'm jumped all over. Oh,
right.
Oh, she has a kid. Yeah.
Well, and like somebody in our comments said something about like K-Dot brought the thunder on this, and he's blah 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 blah, and I was like, yeah, but what's the thunder without the lightning? A bunch of noise, right? Like
yeah, that's right.
Right, like if there ain't no truth to it, it's just a bunch of noise.
Yeah,
and
man. So which is like
it was dope.
Yeah, it was like dope as hell, and it's just like dope from like both sides. But it's like both sides. It's just like we need to see proof. Like we need to see, like on the I'm like on the freaking DNA test, that Dave's daughter. I mean that is Dave's daughter,
right?
And like I'm same thing. Like we got to see like like a light skinned like 11-year-old walking around, like a little pretty girl, you know what I mean,
Indeed.
So
it's
like a lot of proof, that we got to see.
And I think that part of it, but then I also think like you need some proof to say that like Drake was doing a lot of talking about like Kendrick being like a domestic violence, like wife beater kind of thing, right? Where's the proof of that?
Yeah.
Like, and even like, let's say it comes out, DNA test happens, and Dave Free is the dad of one of those kids. That still doesn't make Kendrick a wife beater. No. It could make it more likely. Yeah. But it doesn't, it still does, like, there's still no proof to that.
Like it creates a cause, though, like it does, though, But then, I mean, yeah. But
right.
It's like a whole different rabbit hole.
And so, like, right. And so you get to going down, like, some of these things. And now we're going to get to, like, my conspiracy theory, right? Because I personally think, well, actually, before we get into conspiracy theories, who do you think won?
Well, I'm not trying to listen now, like for real. Listen, before I even get into this though, like I am not trying to be biased. Like this is like all bias out of it. This is like from like the outside looking in. Okay. I look at this from a strategic view.
Okay.
Right? Okay, this is like how I look at it, right? Look, K Dot initiated, hey, here's a bait, co-responds first. Drake quiet, but Drake has some great stuff in the works. Bam, 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 hits him though, Meanwhile, K Dot just, dude, like he's chilling, and he is strategically planning how to listen, man. He came out with a dumb it down track that had a bunch of Easter eggs in it, and then comes out with something, that's for, like the hip hop heads, to
digest. Yep.
And then Drake drops a bomb ass Family Matters track, and then K Dot just like
instantly
covers that
squashes
shit.
it. Yep.
And then comes out with I could do what you do, Drake, and has like an instant banger, like freaking like Not Like Us, Euphoria, #1 on the charts right now. So all I'm saying this though, from a strategic mindset, from just like a strategic way of planning, I say that K Dot took it for that right there. Not by much, because look, Drake had some bangers. Drake had some freaking like he came back at him hard. This was a great fight, but I think that K Dot edged him, man.
Okay. All right. So from my perspective, and I'm going to say, BuzzFam, I personally think of myself as one of the most unbiased in between Drake and K-Dot, because personally, I'm not a huge K-Dot fan, mostly not because I don't think he's one of the best rappers ever to exist. I do think he is one of those, but I don't like his voice personally. So I don't like to listen to him. I'm impressed every time I hear him, but I'm like, I just don't like. That's just me. Like personal, right? Like personal taste. He's not my cup of tea. Drake, I like his like bangers and this and that, but I will be 100% first one to tell you, when Drake first came on the scene, I thought he was a copy. He was trying to copy Lil Wayne, and I was the biggest Lil Wayne fan at the time, and I was not trying to hear Drake when he first came out for like probably the first five years that he was out, right? And then after that, I kind of stuck my head in the sand, and I kind of stopped listening to most music. Obviously, I heard some Drake songs because he's the biggest thing in the world for a long time going, right? He's still making the biggest bangers ever. But like, I would say that between Drake and Kendrick, I'm pretty neutral. Like now, since we started the channel a year and a half ago, I've been listening a lot more to them. I'm more impressed with both of them than I've ever been. But with that said, I will say that through this whole thing, like what you just broke down, right? Nobody gave Drake even a fighting chance to begin this out.
At all.
At all. Did not. Me included. I was like, Drake don't rap like that. Drake does not rap. He does not got a pen like that.
Crushing it.
He does not come out like beefs like that. Like I never heard nothing where he can even like stand his own ground, right? So everybody was praying. Everybody on the internet was praying that Cole would do something, right? Cole did something. Cole backed it out. And then you get Drake coming in. And Drake's first hit was like, bop, right? And it was like, damn, I was not ready for that. Then Drake's second hit, bam, it was even harder.
Killed it.
Then you get nothing from K-Dot for a hot minute. He's calling out like, oh, Taylor Swift is saying you can't drop this week and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And coming out like going just absolutely ham, right? Like,
is he going to drop this Friday?
He's going to drop this. No, he ain't, because Taylor said he can't, blah, blah, blah. Like all this kind of stuff, right? Going through that whole Taylor-made thing. Then you get in, K-Dot comes in. You know what K-Dot does? K-Dot does K-Dot things. K-Dot raps what everybody expected. K-Dot drops Easter eggs all throughout his shit. K-Dot drops another one, comes in even harder, drops entendre, raps out of his freaking mind, right? Like just goes dumb. Drake comes back, slaps hard, but guess what? Gets squashed instantly because K-Dot has an instant response. Exactly what we expect from K-Dot, right? That's what we expect from Kendrick off the rip. Then K-Dot doubles down on it, drops a banger, doing what Drake does normally. boom, drops all this, bam, bam, bam. Then Drake comes back and is like, guess what? Tricked you, pulled the Houdini on you. I ain't got no kid, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of falseness, da, 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 da. Then he goes in, backs out of it and says like, hey, I'm not even trying to fight you because you got a bunch of issues that you're dealing with. I don't want to be part of that, blah, blah, blah. And Drake backs out of it. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Rap-wise, K-Dot did exactly what we expected.
Mm-hmm.
K-Dot is a better rapper. He is more lyrical. His pen is crazy. Everybody knows that. So, K-Dot did what we expected. Drake, however,
exceeded expectations for me.
Exceeded expectations by a fucking mile for everybody, right? Cole fans are like, wait, Drake got it like that?
This is what Cole was supposed to do.
This is what Cole was supposed to do. This is right. Like, Drake, the fact that people are hung up on whether or not Drake or K-Dot won, in my book, tells me that Drake won. And the reason for that is because nobody, and I mean nobody, gave him the time of day. Go back and look at every single reaction after like that. Nobody even thought he was like, everybody's like, yeah, he's dissing Drake a bunch, but Drake ain't gonna do nothing. Every single reactor, every single person was like, Drake doesn't do this, da 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 da. It wasn't until like Joe Budden's podcast popped off and talking about Drake's got some nuclear button like brew and blah 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 or whatever, right? But like the fact that Drake came out and people can even consider it a draw tells me that Drake won because he was such an underdog. We didn't even think he was going to respond ever. Right? And then he came back and just boom, 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 right? And he pulled 2 Houdinis on K-Dot.
Okay, now I think with that right there, like I think that Houdini thing, like I honestly think, man, that all of that was a strategic move to cover up. I mean, like there may not be anything to cover up, but I think that was like a move
to shut it down. Yeah, yeah.
You know, just to like, oh, we planned this to
quiet the rumble.
I'm like, it was just like a strategic move on his side to say, hey, let's spin it this way to make it appear like, and that's what I think that is, though. You know.
Now, so this is where I go into my conspiracy theory. Okay. Right? You ready for my crazy conspiracy theory? Mm-hmm. All the other reactors got their conspiracy theories. Yep. I got mine. My conspiracy theory is that this was pre-planned. Between the whole thing, between Drake and Cole, or not Cole, but and Kendrick, right? Yeah. Cole, I don't think Cole was part of it. And I don't think a bunch of the smaller artists were part of it, right? I think these two were always part of it. And they're like, we need to come up with something that's believable enough and that people can dig up enough dirt enough, but they don't have any actual proof.
Yeah, and since they had, you know, that subliminal history, because like there's been like a lot of hidden stuff between the both of them going on for years. Yeah. And so it's like, why not just bring these two together?
When was the last time hip hop took over the news?
Yeah, because I mean, dude, like the biggest beefs, like you had the Pac and Biggie, you had the Nas and Jay-Z. Yep. And, you know, like from there, it was, you know, the 50 Cent and Ja Rule.
Ja Rules, yeah. But everybody was going at Ja because he had Eminem and all these other people.
Yeah, man. But after that, it was just.
It's kind of like little blips here and there, like nothing too major. But this stirred up hip hop, right? It brought it. It did. Like, and you get 2 of the giants in the game right now to come at, like, and so I think personally, I think that they did it to stir it up. I think it got a little more out of hand than they expected. Yep. But ultimately, they had a plan to extinguish the fires that they both started. Exactly. Right? Because Drake was like waving the white flag, like, I give up. So stop messing with me, Kendrick. And also, he kind of like didn't clear his name, but cleared it for his own fans. Yeah. Right? If you were a Drake fan before this started, you're not less of a Drake fan today. No. And if you were a Kendrick fan before this started, you're not less of a Kendrick fan today, right? And more people are fans of both sides than were when it started. Yeah. And very few people are like, that didn't already hate one side or the other, are going to like hate them now. Yeah. Right? Because there isn't proof for either thing that they've done or didn't do or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that holistically, like, it just brought the game up. Who's the winner in all of this? Anybody that listens to hip hop, because we got one of the best beefs ever, regardless of if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Like, phenomenal rap, phenomenal like gamistry, like the way they played it.
Yeah. And nobody got killed
so far.
And I hope that it stays that way.
And it needs to stay that way.
Yeah.
So anyone that's out there thinking that this is like super real and super, I got to go be about my Kendrick team or I got to go be about my Drake team, you need to squash that shit.
Yeah.
And like put it away because we here for the hip hop. We want, like, I'm all about the next beef. I am all about them coming in and be like, I'm the greatest rapper of all time. And I hope for my mind's sake that Cole comes back and is like, I'm still the greatest rapper and I'm ready to go toe to toe with anyone else who wants to battle me. And I'm going to battle above water so that we don't go down this shooting people's houses up shit, right? And you go like bar for bar with whoever you want, right? And prove that you're the best rapper alive. Because I want to see that.
Yeah. Just like Dot said, now it's time to prove that you're a problem.
Now that it's time to prove that you're a problem. Dot is definitely a problem. He proved to me that he's one of the greatest rappers alive, right?
Yeah.
Drake proved to me that he is way more strategic and way better at rapping than I thought he was.
Not anybody to be taken lightly at all. Despite of all the hits or whatever, don't come at him.
Especially with all the strays that he was catching from random people like Pluto and everybody else that coming at him like out of nowhere. Like
thinking like Rick
Ross and fucking
like
Weekend and this and that. He's like,
just like killed all them.
Craziness, right? Good thing he got all them ghostwriters.
Yeah.
I'm just joshing. But Buzz fam,
with a rapper with a ghostwriter, what the heck happened?
Let us know what you guys think down below. If you're new here, welcome to the Buzz fam.
Yep.
The beef was super awesome.
Yep.
Let us know when the next beef happens because we're gonna be here for it.
Yep. And we'll see y'all on the next one.
All right, guys. Peace.